As Old as Time, Part 1, The Enchanted Castle. If it were a haunted castle of the more prozoic, actually unhaunted type, usually found in the woods, no one in the village would have been able to stop talking about it. Teenagers would have dared each other to spend the night within its walls. People like Gaston would have marched in and shot everything that looked even remotely interesting. The place would have been looted of its mirrors, sconces, and statues years ago, and no doubt British tourists would be thronging through on a daily basis, begging to be taken to the romantic abandoned castle to paint pictures, smoke opium, and write terrible poetry about their experience. No, this castle had camouflaged itself well. She wondered how her father and Philippe had managed to find it the first time. Clever old Philippe. Belle bit her lip, feeling another surge of loneliness. What was so important that the teapot could have stayed another moment to talk with her? And just how did a teapot cook dinner? She had introduced herself as the housekeeper, so maybe she merely ordered other servants around. Were they real? Or other living objects? Or beasts? Or... The wardrobe cleared her throat. Well now, what shall we dress you in for dinner? I'm dreaming, Belle told herself, a little hopefully. The wardrobe threw open her doors. Inside were a few interesting things. One of the largest, clearest mirrors Belle had ever seen, some moths, and an extremely pretty collection of gowns that would have made the blonde triplets Paulette, Claudette, and Laurette swoon. Belle examined the dresses skeptically. Of course, if things went the way they did in fairy tales, they would all fit her perfectly. The question was this a Bluebeard's wives situation, or something else? The tired girl turned and walked over to the bed. So far it, at least, seemed to be inanimate. I'm not going to dinner. Oh, the wardrobe said, shocked. But you must. No, I'm a prisoner. That's fine, but he can't make me do something I don't want to do. Well, maybe he could. Belle really had no idea. She would find out just what the limits of his powers and anger were. More clues to help her escape. But you can't decline a royal invitation, the wardrobe sputtered. Royal? Belle asked quickly, sitting up. That beast is a member of royalty? The wardrobe somehow managed to look guilty. I mean, she sputtered. We can't really talk about these things. Is it forbidden? Like by a curse or a spell? Belle pressed, eager for any information. No, it's déclassé. Belle raised an eyebrow. The wardrobe shrugged. Help is supposed to be seen, not heard, she said apologetically. Anything the master wants you to know, he will tell you himself. Who is he, really? Anything, the wardrobe repeated patiently. The master wants you to know. He will tell you himself. Well, what can you talk about? Yourself, maybe? What kind of wood are you made from? Honey, if I knew about wood, I'd be an enchanted axe, the wardrobe said with a sigh. I know from corsets and ribbons and hand-spandable waists, and what shoes to wear to what sort of occasion, and how to tie 1,000 different girdle knots, and which hat to wear on what sort of outdoor entertainment. Belle's quick mind reviewed what she had just heard. You know, I've never known much about fashion, living in the country and all, she said innocently. What sort of hat would a lady like myself wear to an afternoon tea outside in the garden with other ladies? Assuming I'm ever invited, of course. Oh, that's easy. A lovely straw number with a wide brim, and gay girls if you're dining amongst the ruins, or a pile of flowers and feathers and tipped just so. Belle allowed herself a little smile. No one has worn hats like that, even in this remote part of the world, for at least 10 years. Not even Madame Bassard has pulled one of her own wardrobe recently, and she is very thrifty with her accessories. So whatever happened here must have happened at least a decade ago. The wardrobe shifted nervously. You're a clever girl, she said, with some grudging admiration. I like that. But I think, maybe, I'd better hold my drawers with you for a while. Unless, of course, you'd actually like to get ready for dinner, she added hopefully. Nope, Belle said with a firm shake of her head. My father and I both wound up here by accident, and it is incredibly uncivilized, even evil, to hold us accountable for such a simple mistake. I gave my word about not leaving, but that is all. I will starve to death before I consent to having dinner with such a monster." And with that she lay back down on the bed, head turned away from the wardrobe, lest she see the traitorous tear leaking down Belle's otherwise brave face. The wardrobe didn't say anything. In fact, when she was quiet, there was no way to tell she wasn't just a piece of furniture, and Belle wasn't just making up conversations in her head like a madwoman. Her eyes shot open. Just because the bed didn't talk didn't mean it couldn't. And what about the windows, the rugs, and very stones in the walls? Anything could come alive at this strange place and address her, or just watch her. She closed her eyes tightly, shut again, and clutched the pillow. I just won't look then. Beyond that, Belle was out of ideas. She didn't have any real plans aside from a hunger strike. Eventually, the door creaked open. A new voice, high and nasal, announced officially, "Dinner is served." Another servant, possibly a butler. She was curious what he would turn out to be. A brush, a hanger, a serving plate maybe? But decided to stay firm in her resolution to sulk and ignore any communication from the master of the castle who kept her prisoner. She remained lying down, but opened her eyes a crack. Fortunately, nothing moved on the wall, not even a spider. "Miss?" the voice persisted. "Young lady? Dinner?" Eventually, he went away. Castles, even more modern ones, didn't creak like houses, or at least this one didn't. Wind picked up for a moment outside. She could hear it past the very expansive glazing in the windows, but nothing squeaked or rocked or shifted. Solid. The silence was absolute. Belle might have drifted off to sleep. It was hard to keep track between the hush of the shadows, her tears, her hunger, and, if she fully admitted it, fear. She lay on her side like a lumpy, sick child, just like the time Maurice tried to get her out and play with those 3 little girls he had rounded up as companions for her. She hadn't needed companions. She had him, and her books. That was all she ever needed. "They're meanies," she had insisted with a pout. She could hear her father making stuttering, muffled apologies in the kitchen, either to the girls or to their mother. "You just need to get to know them," Maurice had said brightly, coming into her room to get her. "It's human nature to avoid what's new. Maybe they just need to get to know you, to see that you're no meanie yourself." "You don't have friends," Belle pointed out. "Well, I'm too busy now, but I had some. Rather odd friends once," Maurice said. "Can't for the life of me remember their names, or what they looked like. Ah, well, a lifetime ago. But the point is, we got to know each other and become thick as thieves. The scariest, most frightening person can turn out to be quite a lovely character, if you give him time." Young Belle sat up, considering this. There was that one time Gaston had bumped her into the puddle, and Paulette had let her borrow her hanky to get the worst mud spots off. Maybe there had been a flicker of sympathy in the girl's eyes. She took a deep breath and wiped her face. She opened her mouth to call out to the other little girls. "We don't want to be friends with her anyway," came the unexpected chirp of a voice, probably Laurette's. "We're just here because Mama and Le Pétrien said to, for charity." Belle threw herself back down on her bed with a solid finality. "I don't want friends." Trying not to weep at the other girl's callous statement, she pulled out her latest book and deliberately and firmly turned to the last page she had read, the one right before the picture of the galleon being tossed out into the waves. A quick pitter-patter of 6 feet sounded in the next room, away into the outside world. The girls were gone, free to enjoy the day as they chose, which probably meant avoiding the sunshine so they wouldn't ruin their creamy complexions. Belle's father sighed and sat down heavily at the edge of her bed. He smiled when he saw what book she was reading, and shook his head. "Belle, girl, you can't find real adventures that way. You have to go out into the world. You have to meet people." "You don't," she protested. "I did when I was younger," he said gently. "That's how I met your mother. True love doesn't just fall into your lap. You have to go out and find your other half." "But you're my..." She fell out of your lap. She just kept going. Maurice blinked, obviously surprised by this plithy, intelligent observation from his daughter. Then he put his arms around her and pulled her until she was sitting on his lap, like a much younger girl. She didn't resist, snuggling into him. You can't have adventures without risk. You can't have great things if you constantly fear loss. And I am a much, much better person because of your mother. If nothing else, she gave me you. He kissed her on the forehead and hugged her tight. Oh, Belle, what are we going to do with you, my little dreamer? Adult Belle shifted uncomfortably on the bed and shed a few more tears in the memory. She's finally having her adventure, and it had cost her everything. Her father, her home, her books, her life. It was too much. She was shaken out of her reveries by a loud banging at the door. Thundering, really. The whole thing shook. A lesser door would have been torn off by its hinges. Of course, it was the beast this time. I thought I told you to come down to dinner. I'm not hungry, she screamed back, rage billowing out of her more forcefully than she had managed it possible. Thinking of the triplets and their behavior hadn't improved her mood. You'll come out or I'll break down the door. Huff and puff all you like, you monstrous wolf, she spat. Go right ahead. It's your castle, after all. Do whatever you want with it. I'm just your prisoner. There was a pause. She thought she heard voices in the corridor beside the beast's own, entreating him. Will you come with me down to dinner? The beast finally muttered. No. It would give me great pleasure if you would join me for dinner. Please. No, thank you, Belle replied just as formally and twice as icy. You can't stay in there forever, the beast roared. Just watch me, Belle spat back. Fine, then go ahead and starve. I already planned to. The beast let out a wordless snarl. He made no noise leaving, no stopping off. Much like the now still wardrobe, there was just the utter silence of an absence of presence.